Okay, hi. This is a pine branch, and the reason I wanted to show it to you is because I've noticed some of the houses in my neighborhood have decorated um, with just simple pine branches and holly and things like poinsettias and woven baskets made out of branches and things like that. And so I wanted to talk about a continuum we have going on here, and that is that, just for instance, people decorating their houses for the winter, and some people have extravagant, thousands of lights and tinsel and the yard filled with ornaments. And then you have people who are doing things like this using pine and holly and that sort of thing. And so it raises a question of how pure is pure. And it gets boring when people walk around in sainthood and martyrdom, and they are like, oh, well, I use these materials, so therefore I'm better than you are. And I don't really think that's the point. I think when you're considering yourself as a transitional artist, you're asking a different question. It more has to do with internalizing a certain amount of fear, I guess. And one of the things that silenced scientists over the decades that this has been an issue is that people call them fear mongers, that they're trying to just scare the public with this crazy information. And the same has been true with artists too, who bring up climate change. It's just, you're just trying to scare everybody. But in fact, what we're looking at is scary. And rather than tell people that they're being fear mongers, and rather than invalidating people's feelings of feeling afraid, I think it's time to say, yes, okay, I get that you're afraid. There's something to be afraid of here. It's a real thing to be afraid of. A good example, a metaphor that's being used, is that if an asteroid was coming to hit the Earth, people would be afraid. And if you had people walking around saying, oh, you're just a fear monger, it'd be absurd. But we have the same thing going on with this information about CO2 and climate change. So internalizing a certain amount of fear and validating that as artists is okay. And it's not about being saintly or holier, it's just about making different decisions. And so I guess there's two schools of thought on that. I mean, if there were an asteroid coming to hit the Earth, I mean, some people would just light up some bongs and make some cocktails and sit back and enjoy the day, However, not everybody wants to do that. So there are some people who would say, well, what can we do? Is there anything that we can do to change this situation? And that often is the role of an artist, to ask that question, to just simply ask that question in creative ways, and to express a certain amount of fear that we might not be able to answer it. And so that's what transitional artists, transitional engineers, transitional scientists, that's what that conversation is all about. And so that's what I wanted to bring up today. And if you have any ideas about this, feel free to comment, obviously, and subscribe. Tell your friends about this conversation. I would love to see your ideas and to share your artwork if you're doing anything along these lines. Please share those with me. Okay, thank you, and I'll talk to you later.